Hey, thanks for visiting TMR Customs. Why don't you slide on back and I'll give you a tour of our shop. Thanks for including us in your machine shop tour series. My name's Tim Rogers. I co-founded TMR Customs in 2008 with my brother Mike. We're located in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, about 40 minutes north of Toronto. Come on inside. So what does TMR Customs manufacture? At TMR Customs, we manufacture builder parts for off-road vehicles. Think Jeeps, race trucks, strictly off-road performance, not street-driven vehicles. We design and manufacture builder parts. Our customers are all do-it-yourselfers, so they can all cut, grind, weld, and fabricate. We supply parts to hopefully speed up their build process and really bring their parts and trucks to life. Our goal is really to get your project out of the garage and into the dirt so you can get out there and have fun. Common question for us at TMR is, where'd you get this passion for off-road from? Where's that come from? I remember as a kid, my uncle had this CJ here, and he wasn't driving it in the winter. It was like more or less a second vehicle to him. He loaned it to my dad for one winter because obviously it was four-wheel drive, it'd be good in the snow. I remember driving my dad in a snowstorm. If I looked up, I could see snow literally coming down through the soft top. And if I looked down at the ground, I could see the road passing underneath me. Needless to say, that Jeep was a bit of a hoopty, but what I remember as a kid was that thing could go anywhere. It was never stopped in a snowstorm. It always got us where we needed to be. So to me, Jeeps and off-road, they've always symbolized freedom and adventure. So lots of people often ask, where was your first shop? Our first shop was actually in our parents' basement. We set up like a little stock room. We put up some racking. We'd fill small bins with our parts, and that way we could pack everything quickly, get orders out to customers, make sure we keep everybody happy and pleased with our parts. Our parents are actually our first two employees, so we hired my mom to do all our like bookkeeping and accounting, and my dad would help us out with all our shipping. So he'd come home after his day job, pack all our orders, run to the post office, and hustle them out. So my parents both work for us still full-time to this day, so we definitely come from humble beginnings, and we're a family-built business from the ground up.
So can we see some of those machines you use to manufacture your parts?
Yeah, of course. Follow me. So our first two machines were a manual mill and a manual lathe, and we had these set up at our shop in Aurora. They're nothing too exciting, but we churned out a surprising amount of parts on these at that first shop, really. We scored a wicked deal on these at the time when we got them, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to afford them. One of my friend's dads, he ran the maintenance department at a pharmaceutical company, and they were downsizing. Lucky for me, he knew I was into machining and starting my own business, so we essentially had to make him an offer. We bought these two, we bought some other machines as well from them. We sold the other machines. My brother Mike would know, but I think after selling off the other ones, we're into these for like a couple $100. So these were definitely the deal of the century. Helped kind of propel us and allowed us to manufacture some of our own parts, modify parts, do whatever you got to do to get started. So this good old mill and this good old lathe have been awesome for us, and I'm sure they'll be sticking around as we move from shop to shop.
So what was your first CNC machine?
Our first CNC was this one right behind me. So it's a Mazak Quickturn Smart 200. It's a 2011 model year, which we purchased new, and it was originally in our shop in Aurora. That shop was 1,600 square feet, so it fit in just fine. One thing we do on this, guy, is we do a lot of bar pulling. We've got a Royal Products bar puller, and that's worked awesome for us. We essentially don't have the space at our old shop or here actually for a feeder. So we use that puller and it's worked awesome. This machine's got a 2-inch through spindle. It's worked very well for us. We do a lot of 3/4 inch to 2-inch bar work, so we just pull. And yeah, we've ran a lot of parts on this guy. It's been extremely successful for us. Prior to purchasing this machine, we did a lot of research. So we looked at all the top brands. What really led us to Mazak was their Mazak programming. For us, it seemed like it was going to be easy for us to learn, easy to teach new people, and easy for experienced people to learn. Even if they had never done programming before on Mazak, it seemed like it'd be simple enough for them to pick up, which is definitely proven to be worthwhile. So all the guys just do the programming right on the machine. My brother Mike does all our part design, so he'll generate the dimension prints, feed them out to the shop, and we really roll from there. Another nice thing was Mazak's Canadian facility. So basically their headquarters for training as well as service. It's less than 2 hours down the road from us in Cambridge. So we felt good knowing we were buying from a machine builder that was essentially close by and could provide us good service. Luckily enough, we've needed next to nothing for this machine other than training. It's been pretty rock solid. No real issues or unexpected things have popped up over the years. So this was definitely a good buy for us back in 2011. And here we are, and it's still rocking 10 years later. It's still pumping out awesome parts, no issues whatsoever. Some other optional features we got on this Mazak lathe that I think are worth highlighting in case you're looking at getting a new machine. We find them super useful. This guy's got a belt type conveyor, so it's a Jorgensen conveyor. It's been lights out, 100% reliable, and it's awesome at all the chip evacuation. To me, it appears better than auger type machines, although I've never owned one, so I can't speak to experience, but it looks, from what I see online, it looks like it's a better setup. Programmable tailstock is sweet. We don't use ours often. Most of our work is bar work, but when you need it, you need it. So that guy's really easy to set up on the Mazak programming. Another nice thing is this parts catcher. So as we're parting off parts, basically that arm goes up. I'm sure you guys have seen these. It's essentially a little basket, catches the part, dumps them out. They're outside here, so an operator can be picking out those parts, deburring them, cleaning them while the machine's still running. And this tool eye or tool setter is another awesome upgrade. It just makes for quick setups and checks on all your tools when you're getting dialed in for a new job. Those are some upgrades I would recommend anyone get with a new machine because it just makes for a smoother process in my opinion. Our next CNC purchase was the Mazak VCU behind us. When it came time to purchase a mill, we want to stick with the brand we already knew. We liked the Mazak programming, so we knew it would be just as simple. It's actually the same smart controller on this mill as is the lathe, and our lathe proved out to be super reliable for us, so we knew we'd get the same out of the mill. This one's been awesome for us. Again, no issues with it, similar to the lathe. Size-wise, it's been good. One funny thing about actually the size of this mill and getting it in here, when we got it delivered, or actually pre-delivery, we figured this out, but it wouldn't fit through our door. We've got a roll-up door you can see in the background past the forklift, an 8-foot wide door, and this mill was not going through it. At that point, that was a major moment because we had purchased this thing and had no way to get it into the building. So one of our neighbors here, he's got a larger roll-up door, 10-foot wide. So we approached him. We're lucky he was cool, but we essentially cut an access panel through the wall. So that allowed us to move the mill in, put it here, and then we patched the hole up. So yeah, we were lucky as hell we had that option to us. Hope he's just as cool when we want to go move it out. But yeah, this mill's been awesome for us. It's outfitted with a Rent-A-Shop probe, which is great, again, for setups. It's got a tool eye, so we got a lot of the same things we liked from the lathe, applied them to the mill. Again, it's a belt type chick conveyor from Jorgensen, which has worked awesome for us, so no complaints. I just need another one or two of them to deal with all the work we've got. But yeah, again, Mazak product's been awesome for us. Another nice upgrade for lathe for our QTS 200 we just took a look at was all these spindle liners from Trusty Cook. We use them for all our bar pulling ops, really anything that we're not slugging in our 8-inch chuck. We throw a spindle liner in there. Obviously protects the machine, it's good for vibration and everything. Trusty Cook was an awesome brand to deal with because we called them up, they knew all the specs on the machine. We just told them essentially what bar diameter we're pulling. Like I say, 3/4 up to 2 inches, super common for us, and they supply us with these spindle liners. They've been stupid durable. They're made from polyurethane. I don't think you can really hurt them. So they're another nice upgrade if you're looking at doing a lot of bar work.
Is that a water gun up there?
Yes, that's a water gun. The origins of that are actually kind of funny. In the summer, we like to obviously roll with the doors up, get a breeze out when the weather's nice. What we found was working to like dawn or dusk, we had to have a couple birds come in our shop all the time, and then they're up in the rafters. We didn't want to take them out in a harmful way, so Steven, one of our employees, he brought in this water gun, and I think we'd spend an extra hour or two at the end of the night trying to chase birds out of our shop, but hey, it worked. Something that's important for a small shop like us is obviously organization. We want our guys to know where the parts and stuff they need are at all times. We don't want to be searching around for stuff. So over here in the CNC area, we've made kind of 2 store cabinets. This one here holds all our jigs and fixtures for custom ops in both the mill and the lathe. And then what we do is we basically label them all with the part number, the op number. So again, it's easy to identify. You're not scratching your head as to what it's for. I just want to show you guys some sample parts that we generate here using our 2 Mazak machines. So this is a finished suspension joint. We refer to it as a lifetime heim. You'd see this on the end of a control arm, a steering link, that sort of thing. When we first started making these, we were making them out of billet, so that's a 3 1/4 inch 4140 heat treated round. So there's a lot of chip making to get those whittled down. Once we kind of proved out that these were going to be popular, we moved to forging. We're super lucky on this. The place that forges these, they're only 2 hours from us. They're just down in southwestern Ontario. So we order these large batches and then run them off. So you can see there's a couple lathe ops there. So that's the first op to get that head on this side of the ball end. And then this one's had a second op, so it's got its threading done. So that's some cool stuff we do on our Mazaks. Other parts for those actually are this bronze race. Again, this is sourced locally. We found a foundry that's only 10 minutes down the road from us, so they make this bronze. We kind of told them what we were doing, and they knew exactly what was going to be the best grade for us. So these have worked out flawlessly for us. Some other parts are this spanner nut that's used on the Lifetime Heim to hold all the internals in. Again, it's 4140. Some other materials we could take a look at. This guy, it's a little spacer. It goes in a rod end or a Heim. It's called a high misalignment spacer. Again, it's another suspension part. They're made from 303 stainless. We run tens of thousands of those a year. They're super popular for us. This product's brand new. That's a weld on recovery point. So you can picture this welded onto a custom bumper on a Jeep, a truck, you name it. But if someone's building a custom bumper for off-road performance, they'd weld this right on there. They'd weld around this perimeter here. And this allows them to connect a hook from a winch. Shackle can go through there, a soft shackle. If you don't have a through connection like that, you can just throw a tow strap or tow rope right over the top here. So that's a brand new product we're cranking out on our Mazak mill. So those are prime examples of what we make here at TMR Customs with the equipment we have. Common question we're asked by other shops and friends is if we cut all the material on site or if we buy pre-cuts. We've always been big on cutting and processing all our material in-house. When we first started out though, we primarily went through tubing. We bent up a lot of tube products. We also sold tubing to the public. So back then our first saw was a cold saw, worked really well for tubing. Once we got into CNC machining though and we were cutting solid, let's just say that cold saw didn't make the cut. So we needed a traditional horizontal bandsaw. We originally got a Heidmech, which was a Canadian built machine. We bought it used from a dealer. The machine was built in the 80s, but it was still workhorse. It was big, heavy casting, and the thing worked awesome for us. I believe it was an S20. That saw was awesome. It worked years for us, but eventually as we got into higher production, I realized it was kind of pointless to pay an operator, stand there, pull material, cut, when I could really get a programmable saw, set it, have that operator essentially walk away. They can go do another task now and free themselves up. So we got this Amada used. It's a 250W. It's been, again, a workhorse for us. It's easy to set up. You essentially set number of pieces, cut length. This machine runs all day. So I can have an operator throw multiple bars in it. This thing just does the work. Now they can be off doing another task. So I think auto feed saw like this is a no-brainer for any shop that produces a decent amount of parts. I've seen some shops and they're still using a manual saw. Some places prefer to have their material supplied cut. I get that. It comes in palletized. It's ready to rock. That can just go right to your CNCs. There's some advantages to that, but for us, we like cutting our stuff in-house. We even made, you can kind of see it in the foreground there, this shopping cart. One of our employees sourced this. He did not steal it. He found it essentially, I think, at what was like an old homeless camp somewhere on the side of the highway. So he brought this thing in. We kind of had to beef it up. We've added a couple mods to it to make it more rigid, but that shopping cart sits at the end of this saw and the saw just pumps in it and feeds into it all day. So yeah, auto saw, 100% been an awesome upgrade and good investment for us. Another good secondhand purchase for us in the sawing department was this DoAll vertical. It's far from used every day, but it's super versatile. We mainly use it for cutting off forming tabs. We slit a couple parts on this that are for like a screw to kind of be a pinch clamp. Again, it's not used every day, but it's not something I want to live without because when you do need it, it's super handy to have. This one came from a manufacturer near us. They're about 2 hours. They're actually down near the Mazak headquarters I mentioned earlier. And they manufactured satellites. We saw it on a used marketplace. My brother and I went to check it out. And we knew it was the saw for us because it was only used to cut aluminum. So we figured this thing had an easy life most of its time, and that shop was like mint clean. Like it was above what I would consider like aerospace cleanliness. So this thing's been a good buy for us. Again, not used all the time, but if you can spring for one, I definitely recommend it. Since we do all our saw cutting on site, it's important that we keep obviously all that bar organized. So we built these material racks here. They hold common, solid, hex, tubing. and they're all organized in terms of size, material, spec, and whatnot. It's all laid out easy, so if a CNC guy needs a piece of 303 stainless, he can grab it, take it to the CNC department. If someone in the warehouse has sold a piece of 1.5" DOM tubing for a walk-up order or an order that's got to ship, again, that can easily be picked and pulled by a variety of people. Beyond those racks and behind the 2 saws that we looked at earlier, we've kind of got these blue racks. Those we picked up secondhand way back. I think we actually got those and stuffed them in my parents' backyard before we even had a shop. So they store all our remnants. We try and keep them organized, but we do the best we can in that. And then if you pan around past that, we get into our DOM tubing. Before we really set anything up here, we built these racks, affixed them to the wall, and that stores all our tubing. And solid bar and flats are kind of more or less at its feet at the ground there. Yo, over here. I'm standing down the aisle of one of our 4 sections of Russo racking. This racking has been super efficient for us. It's allowed us to pack in all our small parts within a very small footprint, not utilizing a lot of square feet. So our warehouse staff can pick and pull super fast. They can rock carts up and down these aisles, grab all the small parts to fulfill orders. Another nice thing about this racking is it's actually structural. So we're gonna add a second tier on top of this. Again, doubling our footprint there, and going up is free square footage essentially. So it's been a great upgrade for us in our warehouse. Down here in this corner of the shop, we've got our Kaeser compressor. So it's a screw compressor, it's quiet, it's efficient. It's efficient on electricity consumption as well. We used to have like this 55-gallon piston guy, and it made a lot of noise. I don't think anyone liked listening to it, especially if someone in the welding department was DA sanding, because the DA sanders are a complete air hog. So the Kaeser's been an awesome upgrade for us. It works well, supplies clean, dry air because it's got a refrigerator built into it and a dryer system as well. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. It costs more in terms of maintenance. There's annuals that got to be done on it versus like that style's kind of just set it and forget it. But the quality of air we're supplying to our machines and the reduced noise for all our staff, I think has been worth it, and it's a worthy upgrade. Okay, in the final back corner of our shop here, we've got our welding cell, as well as we do finish work, sanding, deburring back here. So primarily what we weld is laser cut assemblies. So we have the blanks cut and formed for us. They come here for finish welding. Then sometimes they go for powder coat. Sometimes they're finished just like that. This one's pretty cool. It's actually going to be a receiver for a vise mount we're coming out with soon. So that'll be on our website by the time this video is rocking. Some other stuff we weld up are like differential covers. This one's like a shave kit for a 14-bolt axle. If you're into off-road, I'm sure that's an axle you've heard of and something you probably know of. So we do a lot of welding on those here. And something else we've kind of developed, I hate a workbench that's covered with all your tools. You'll see this one's just got parts on it. So these are tube notcher parts that are going to get sanded and some prep work on them before they go for powder coat. Again, here's another batch of tube notcher parts as well. Average guys give them a huge bench, they're just going to clutter it up. It's super common, it happens to everybody. So we've developed a line of tool organizers, and those all come from our own use. So we know we got to hang grinders on the wall. A brace has got to be easy to access, or guys will use the wrong wheel on a job. You might use a hard wheel when you should be using a flap disc. It's terrible. So get all that stuff easily accessible. Clamps, squares, magnets, you name it. We kind of make tool organizers for all kinds of stuff. So that's something we found that just gets that stuff off the table, saves space, and makes the workplace more efficient. So that stuff works very well for us in our welding cell. Something else to check out over here is we only use Miller welders. Here's one of our 252s. It's like all our other machines, been super reliable. It's a brand I've always used and had good luck with, so I'd highly recommend them. And we've also got Fred Jr. here, our fume extractor. It's built by Diversitech, which is a Canadian company, which is pretty cool. And it's basically maintenance free. It needs some filter maintenance on it every once in a while, but it's been awesome in improving the air quality for obviously the welder as well as the rest of the shop. So that's a no-brainer. I think regardless of what size shop you're in, you should have a fume extractor for yourself and for your staff. That pretty much covers our weld cell back here. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it for the production shop here at TMR Customs. Why don't you guys follow me? We're gonna head over to our other shop and I'll show you what it's all about. Let's go. Hey, welcome to our second shop. Come on in. Thanks for following me over to our second location. So we're just around the corner from our production shop. We've dubbed this our race shop because we prep our race vehicles in here. But the goal of this shop and why we bought this a year ago was essentially to free up more space. Three of the vehicles here, and I'll tour you through them, they were all stored over in our old showroom. That's now warehouse space. So we needed to get them out of there, get that space freed up for racking. So basically over at this shop, we do a little maintenance on our race stuff and maintenance on these project vehicles, test fit parts, and store stuff that we just didn't have room for over at our production shop. So earlier on, I mentioned that CJ that my uncle had and how it inspired us to have an interest in off-road and Jeep lifestyle. So this was actually the first Jeep that I purchased, I guess 21 years ago or so. So I've had this Jeep my whole life. It was my first vehicle, and it was our first build at TMR Customs. So we designed a lot of products off of it. It's essentially a prototype. We dubbed it the blueprint because we wanted our customers to kind of copy what we had done. So we made a lot of suspension and upgrades. I won't get into a ton of details on here, but yeah, it basically puts 1-ton truck axles under it with aftermarket shocks. That allows you to run a big 40-inch tire. We built a custom roll cage for it and just lots of other cool stuff. So this Jeep really helped put TMR Customs on the map because it was our first big project build and kind of got us some brand recognition for the parts we manufacture. And then over on this side behind it, the Jeep behind the blueprint, that's, we call it the tractor. It's my sister-in-law's. It just keeps banging and rattling, but it won't die. So it's just like an old tractor, it keeps going. My dad's got a bike stored in here for the winter, as well as my dad's CJ5. So these 3 Jeeps are here for the winter. It's tough to say no to family when they needed storage. We had the extra space this year, so we decided to hook them up. Okay, so this one here is another TMR project build. You can see this one's a 4-door Jeep JK. So we wanted to build a JK to showcase the parts we made for that platform. Again, we're stuffing the big 1-ton axles under it, showing you how you can do that with TMR parts. On this guy, we're running a 42-inch tire. It's powered by a 6.2-liter Crate LS3 V8 motor. And it's just a newer platform than the TJ I previously showed you, the blueprint that we looked at. The 4-door Wrangler obviously is massive in terms of popularity, so we just want to showcase how you can use TMR parts to fit the big axles, fit the big tires, and have a durable and durable package that's good on and off-road. And another TMR project over here at the race shop is obviously our race vehicle itself. So this is a chassis kit that we manufacture. It's literally a Lego for adults. So we sell you every tube you see here in a crate with assembly instructions, and you put it together yourself. And this vehicle represents the ultimate test bed for us. We race this thing, we roll it, we crash it, we kick the crap out of this thing to prove our parts, because if our parts can survive what we do to it on this race platform, they're gonna survive quite easily in your Jeep or your rock crawler, or something that's used in a less severe application. Or if you wanna go this severe, you can push it too. But those lifetime heims I showed you over at the other shop, those high misalignment spacers, all those machine parts we make in-house, they all get fitted onto this vehicle and pushed to the absolute limit, because we wanna know what those parts can take, if we need to make improvements, if they're built strong enough for what we're gonna put them through, sell them to our customers with confidence, knowing you guys can put them through the same paces. So this is a pretty cool platform for testing for us, and obviously for customers that want to build their own, it's amazing. Again, it's V8 powered. We run all aftermarket axles, transmission, transfer case, some crazy high performance shocks that have lots of travel as well as dampening capabilities. And that's more or less it. This is really how TMR tests our parts.
So where do you guys race, or where has your chassis been raced?
So our chassis have been raced everywhere throughout North America, and actually some in Europe as well. There's 2 of these in Germany, there's 1 in Austria. They're all over the United States and Canada. So they've raced some Ultra 4 Europe events. They've raced King of the Hammers. That's the big one everyone would know that follows North American rock racing and rock crawling. And locally here in Ontario, we actually host our own race series. It's TMR Race Series. And it's 5 events through the summer, and there's like 30 of these type buggies, not necessarily all our chassis, lots of custom guys build their own, but it's just for us, gives our customers a gateway to use their vehicles, test their vehicles, and run their stuff local. We put on that series just so we've got somewhere local to race without a ton of travel. All right, guys, I think that covers it. Showed you both our shops here at TMR Customs, and I want to give a big thanks to Practical Machinist for including us in the Machine Shop Tour series. With that said, it's time for you guys to hit the road. I've got a race truck to build.